Welcome to Larry's Library. This time up, we're taking a look at Spider-Man Blue, the Gallery Edition. As I've said many times on the channel, if you've watched many previous videos, the Marvel Gallery Edition is my all-time favorite format. I think it's just perfect. It's stunning. It's at a good price point. It's always good build quality. Yeah, I could gush about the Gallery Edition for a while, but I'm not going to bore you with that because I'm here to talk about this great story. I've called this a Spider-Man story for the ages, and I stand by that. So, of course, this is Marvel. This is 168 pages. It has a $50 retail list, but don't be a chump. Don't pay that. Get it from a good retailer, like a good discounting retailer, like InStockTrades.com, where I got it, and it's still available as the time of this shooting. And I'm a little ahead on these, but it for $31. So that is a good deal by any stretch. Now, the creators on this one are Jeph Loeb and art by Tim Sale. Now, he does the pencils and the inks here, and they are stunning. So this one collects the entire 6-issue miniseries that originally came out in 2002. Now, I kind of knew about it in 2002, but for some reason, I just never picked it up. Don't know why. But so I was in for a treat because it's the first time I've ever read that story. And a lot of people viewing this, you've probably read this story before. You may have the singles. But I tell you, if you love Tim Sale's art and you love this story, I think it's very much worth it to get it in this beautiful, extremely oversized edition. Like I said, I had never read this before. I kind of had some idea what it was about. I knew it was about Peter Parker remembering Gwen Stacy, but that's about all I knew. And I knew it retold some of the classic tales from, I think it's like issue 40 through 49 of Amazing Spider-Man, where a lot of the events he's recollecting took place. But the difference here is this is Spider-Man, this is Peter Parker remembering Gwen Stacy every Valentine's Day. He remembers falling in love with her. He remembers the time he had with her and all the tumultuous stuff that happened in his life at that time, all the villains he battled, and the conflict between, is he going to be with Mary Jane or is he going to be with Gwen Stacy? He loved them both. So that has kind of become a trope, in movies and TV and in comic books, of course, where you have this somewhat nerdy guy and you have these two beautiful girls that are inexplicably drawn to him, and they both want him at the same time. I guess that's sort of a crazy male fantasy put on the page. So you get to see Tim Sale's take on a lot of the classic Spider-Man rogues gallery of villains and the battles that took place then. Now, of course, this is Peter Parker remembering this some years later, an unspecified amount of years later, but he is married to Mary Jane at the time. So we know a pretty good amount of time has passed. With Marvel continuity and Marvel years, it's very elastic. So you just got to kind of go with it. We're not going to put hard dates on it. When we put hard dates on things, that's when we get in real continuity trouble. So you just got to kind of go with it. But it's a very sweet tale. It's a very emotional tale. It's powerful. And you get to see how Peter Parker has grown as a character. So there is actual character growth here. But the majority of the book, like I said, is him recollecting how these events took place. So, and that is a cool plot device, because if there are differences between how John Romita Sr. depicted it, back in the 40-something issues of Amazing Spider-Man, and what we have here, you can easily say, well, human beings' memories are not that good. And that's a true thing. I mean, you especially as decades go by, and you younger viewers are going to get there, believe me. But as decades go by, you are actually remembering your memory rather than the event. So each time you remember it, it gets a little less sharp. The details get a little fuzzier, and your brain sort of fills in the gaps. So that's a real thing, and I think you can see it done here, beautifully through the art. Speaking of the art, Tim Sale's art here is very deceptively simple in that he has this economy of lines, meaning he only puts enough lines on the page that is necessary. So there's massive detail in some bits, and then there's way less detail in other bits. And this is not something I would typically like, but he does it so well. It draws you in, and it's just gorgeous. It's the total composition you have to look at, and not just this part or that part. The totality of it is way better than one would think, from such simple lines in many cases. But the whole of it is just breathtaking. I loved it, and the colors just pop throughout this too. It's great, and having it on the higher quality white paper, the colors are just stunning. They really are. I mean, you're seeing it in the scans, but it is beautiful. So yeah, the art, like I said, it's deceptively simple and yet complex at the same time. It's just gorgeous. A fantastic story with some gorgeous art, and it's, like I said, it's lovingly told. It's very emotional. Peter Parker is speaking into a audio tape recorder, and he's talking directly to Gwen, but that serves as a narration for this, as he tries to remember what happened and how much he loved her and all of those crazy events that sort of shaped him into the hero that we know and love today, So, yeah, I loved it. I could gush on forever, but I'm not going to bore you with that. Just get it. If you don't have it, if you've never read it before, you're in for a special treat. Because like I said, this is the first time I read it. So I read it in this jumbo format right away, in my first read through it. This is something I'm sure I will read again and again because it's that good. And I don't typically reread a lot of stuff, but this is one I think I will revisit. So yeah, easy 10 out of 10 for me. I know I give a lot of those out. I'm pretty good at picking and predicting things that I'll love. Doesn't always work out, but it usually does. So yeah, give me a thumbs up if you like this content, and subscribe if you haven't already. Love to have you come back for more, and I'll see you next time.